Hello, YouTubers. Joe here on Sunday, September 8th, 2013, about 4 in the afternoon, Eastern Time. And it's that time of day. Fairly straightforward day as these things go. Granted a reasonable night's sleep. Got up. You know, on Sunday I don't have to read the Wall Street Journal online, so just sort of check their homepage to see if we've gone to war yet. And then Paul scampered off to work here. He had one of these 9 o'clock days, 9 o'clock start, so he left around 8:20. Wrote some checks, got ready to go to church, went to church there. Now stopped at the Walmart on the way to church, so I left a little early, left about 9:15 for the 10:30 service. Now, there's an organization up in Delaware County called People in Need, and they do, you know, they sort of run a food bank, and they offer, you know, sort of medical fee assistance to some folks and electric bill assistance to some folks. They at any one time are currently helping anywhere between 200 and 300 families. As some of these things go, it started off small and it's gotten, you know, moderately large. You know, of course, then they can start getting some federal grants. And so anyway, there's about 13 or 14 churches that each month, each church has well, they call it a challenge, but you know, the idea is you get between 100 and 150 items of something that they need for that particular month that they're low on. And this year, or not this year, this month, it's pork and beans. Which, interestingly enough, when this sort of monthly program with all the churches getting, you know, having a monthly sort of assignment, you know, with a specific product, used to be just people brought in stuff whenever they felt like it, and of course everybody's bringing in spaghetti and chicken noodle soup, you know. But they need a lot more specific items than that, so they started this, and it's worked out very well. So we're back to pork and beans. You know, this program started, as I said, in October of 2007. The same month our current rector came and started. So it's been going on now, you know, 6 years. So I stopped and got these guys some pork and beans, and then went up to church, and on the way making a right-hand turn, I noticed that, you know, my blinker, instead of going blink, 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 was going blink, 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 blink. And then one of these little icons, these little eye information icons, popped up on this little screen, you know, in the truck. So, you know, it's like, what fresh hell is this? Well, it's a burnout rear turn signal. Well, it's also not just the turn signal; it's also the brake light. It's not the tail light. I still have a tail light function on that side, but the blinker and the brake light are gone. Well, at least it's the right side. It's not so urgent that you signal a right a right turn. I suppose it's kind of urgent if you're trying to signal a right lane change. So that's on the agenda for tomorrow, to try to get the thing up there and get that changed. Now normally, you know, in years past I'd have just changed this myself. You know, this is my 7th truck. I've changed lots of light bulbs on various things. But, you know, I read the instruction manual. You know, actually the owner's manual on this truck is fairly detailed. It's like 700 pages long. And they do give you some nice instructions on how to do, you know, basic, simple maintenance repairs. But, you know, so take out the 2 screws. Okay, that's easy. The screws are very visible, very accessible. But it turns out they're one of these 7-headed screw heads. You know, yeah. Oh, everybody's got a 7-headed screwdriver in their toolbox, don't they? Yeah, I know you can go out and buy these things, but I'm not going to do that. And I'll tell you too, the last couple of jobs I've done that involve taking off that wiring harness, and it says you got to take the wiring harness off the back of this thing. I've made a real dog's breakfast of it, so I'll just take this up to the dealership and have them do that. I need an oil change anyway, and I'll tell you, I used to do all my own oil changes too. But at a certain point, particularly when I had these diesel trucks that took 15 quarts per oil change, I got tired of having that stuff run down my arm, you know. You're unscrewing, have that stuff run down your arm. I just got tired of having all that stuff come into contact with my body. And plus anymore, I really can't, you know, if I get down on the ground, I'm really kind of grounded. I'm like one of these turtles, you know. I have to, you know, with my knee, it's hard for me to get up. I have to have sort of a way to get up. So I don't mean to whine, don't mean to sound like a woman, but that's just the fact of the matter. So, rector gave a pretty good sermon today. More or less stuck to the texts. When he does that, he's pretty good. The gospel was Luke 14 toward the end, about you got to hate your mother and your father, and you got to give up everything and take up the cross. But he emphasized the sort of the 3 little examples in the speech after that announcement. You know, about the king going out to war and then cutting a deal, a guy building a tower and then making sure he has everything. Well, there's another example in there of somebody making sure, you know, no, instead of just taking the plunge and following God, you know, you always hedging your bet. Now, interestingly enough, they left the old salt, if salt has lost its savor, wherewith shall ye be salted line out. I think largely because it's such a difficult line. I mean, it's hard to understand. But I think in the context of his extended discussion about the 3 caveats that Jesus was offering as an example, as examples of people who don't give up everything and follow him, that makes it all very clear. So, home without having to worry about getting picked up too much by the highway patrol because of my blinker situation. I'm not going to go anywhere anyway this week except up to the dealership. You know, this is a week I don't have to do anything that I know of, that I'm aware of. Thank the good Lord. So home safe, house was safe. Didn't look like any lowlifes had been roaming about doing anything. Did some email stuff. Just got done watching some YouTube stuff. that's about it. That's about it. So it's a very pleasant evening. Paul's not home yet. He probably won't be home until about 5 or 6, I imagine. And so at some point I'm going to have to do some of these dishes in the sink, because it's actually starting to smell fairly fragrant. We've got some fermentation going on in that sink. New life being created in our sink. So on that note, I'm going to say bye-bye, YouTube.